Hello and welcome to Your Story on Look Up TV. I am Nancy Nalima. Welcome to the program. It is a show that comes to you every Saturday here on Look Up TV. Now, Benjamin Franklin once said that the greatest investment is in books because it pays the best interest. And that is what we're going to be discussing on the show here today. Books, a very intellectual conversation. And with me on set is Reverend Joyce Kariuki of House of Bread.
Yes.
Karibu sana kwenye program.
Thank
We'll be
you.
talking about the launch of your book that is tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, and now books. We want to understand the reading culture in Kenya as well as the rest of the world.
Yes.
Yes, now books in Kenya.
Yes.
What do you think is the culture?
Yeah. Well, I think the reading culture here in Kenya, and maybe in many African countries for that matter, has not caught up with people. And maybe that is for many reasons. If you talk to a number of people, just count any, people in your circle and ask them maybe, what book have you read in the last 1 month? Stretch it even maybe to 2 or 3 months. And you'll find maybe half of them or even more would say they haven't read any book. So there's something, and I've been trying to look at that and understand why don't people read books in Kenya. It's actually been said that if you want to hide something, and it will never be seen, hide it in a book, because no one will ever open a book and find it. And I think there are many reasons why we have not caught up with the reading culture.
And Kenya rates very well in Africa in terms of literacy. Like it has the literacy levels of over 80%. But now most of this literacy is just education.
Yeah.
So other than academic work, then it looks like we are not reading books.
And you
We're not
pinned
reading.
it right. That is where the problem is.
Because publishers are even producing up to 3 billion books,
Wow.
but which are mostly
Academic.
textbooks.
Yes.
So there is still a gap. It means that Kenyans are not reading books.
Yes.
And I know that people, when a new year starts, then resolutions.
Yes.
And I tell myself that I have to read a book a month.
Every month.
Yes.
Yes.
I know I have friends who say a book a week.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, because I don't read much
Yeah.
of books,
A month.
I can start with a month,
Yeah.
a book a month.
Yeah.
Then sometimes you can just, that downward
Decline
trailing is
the-
just like,
yeah,
I was busy
yeah.
today, and then tomorrow we'll see what we can do about it. So for you, maybe we'd want to understand a little bit about your background, so then we get to know how you got into writing a book.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm Pastor Joyce Kariuki, as you have introduced me. And I come from Kiambu. Precisely, that's where I was born and brought up. And I come from a family where we traveled a lot in the country. I mean in the country because my father worked for this company where he moved from town to town. So almost all the major towns of Kenya we have been to. So I grew up there. Then I went to Egerton University for my studies and left Egerton, looked for a job like any other graduate, didn't find a job. And I thought, well, I've always heard that there is the greener pastures are in the US. And I thought to pursue the greener pastures in the US. So I went to the US for my master's. That was the year 2002. I went for my master's, graduated in 2004. And in 2005, I came back to the country. I love this nation. And it's home. You can't compare Kenya with any other nation. So I came back home, but I've always looked at that as part of destiny. Anytime I have an opportunity to speak, I tell people our destinies are in the hands of God, and He orchestrates our lives. So I thought I was just coming back home. But there was a bigger reason for God bringing me back home, because I didn't have a particular reason I would pin down and tell you this is why I'm coming back. My friends would ask me, why are you going back? And I really didn't have a reason. But anyway, I came back to the country in 2005 and, got a job. I've been a lecturer in Daystar University and did a number of businesses. And in 2013, I got married to Bishop Mark Kariuki of Deliverance Church.
He's a well-known bishop. Yes.
Yes, so in 2013 we got married in a grand wedding at Kasarani Gymnasium. And even before I got married to him, I had been a leader in church, and I served in the church where he was my pastor. It's a long story, maybe for another day.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, so I've been married to Bishop Mark now for 7 years. 7 years, and so I am a co-pastor with him in Deliverance Church International, where he's the general overseer, and we are pastors at the House of Bread here in Nairobi. So majorly, that's really what my core area is, the co-pastoring with my husband. But on top of that, I'm also an entrepreneur. I've done a number of businesses. I'm still doing a number of businesses. I speak in conferences when I'm invited. And recently, I became an author. But I believe it's been in me.
Yes.
But this year, it came out.
Okay.
Yes. So, a long story of my life, but, short.
Okay.
Yes.
And today we want to understand, the reading culture.
Yes.
Because books are important.
Mm.
There's a lot of knowledge
Yes.
in books, but now you have to open those books and read them.
Exactly.
And for these books, then 80%, we say that 80% of Kenyans are actually literate. So we are supposed to be reading these books. And as a matter of fact, the Bible. The Bible is the most sold book
Yes. Yes.
across the world.
Yes. If you're done
Now
with
this is
high
it.
school, you are done with campus, college, that's it with books.
So then that greatly affects the interest to pursue reading, even just for leisure and to get information as well.
Exactly. And that's why now, if I think about that, we need to help our kids, and introduce them to not just, what you're saying, the intellectual or the education kind of academic,
Yes.
kind of books. We introduce them to other books outside academics.
Yes.
Because otherwise then they'll also be like us. So I believe that is the biggest source of our lack of reading culture. It's where we've come from, and we formed it in our minds that we read for exams. So right now I'm not doing any exam. Why should I read? Yeah. And also there is I don't know, but I believe, I don't know what it is about us, but just picking a book to read, it seems like a lot of hard work. I don't know how I can
people would rather
explain it.
actually read newspapers.
I would rather, exactly.
People actually just reading newspapers.
Yeah, and you see somebody read, finish, and start all over again.
Yes, and that's
There
it.
is something about, I'm avoiding using this word, but it's like a laziness, sort of it's too hard picking a book 200 pages and opening page 1 and reading to the end. If you can tell me in summary what that book is about, I'm better off. And I'll tell you why I've discovered that is the reason.
Yes.
Being in ministry means we are also always kind of sending out information. And sometimes we send out information in posters, and mainly posters. So you have an event, you put up a poster. Like I have an event, I put up a poster.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, very few read that poster.
They just skim through.
Skim through, and then someone calls you. You said the event is when?
And the poster doesn't even have a lot of information on it.
It's a poster.
Yes.
Somebody calls you. You said the book is how much? And I'm thinking,
You should have just
it's
read.
there.
Yeah.
So I think we want a summary of, you tell me.
Everything.
Just tell me in one, and if you can speak to me, don't make me pick and read, or if it's a poster, look and read. So I think a bit of that is also in us. We just want quick things. When is it, how much, tell me, but I don't have time, to read. So a combination of many things. I was speaking to a friend of mine, and she told me, she believes, this is just her, I don't know if it's across the nation, but she told me, she believed that there was a spirit, she was carrying a spirit, an anti-reading. An anti-reading
I think that is probably
spirit.
a common spirit.
And she said, somehow she just didn't like reading books. And when she realized that that is her problem, she decided to pray. She said, you know what? I'm a leader wherever I am, and I need to read, because leaders are readers.
Yes.
So she prayed. She actually went away fasting for some days. I mean, it may be that serious for many others. And she prayed about it, and today she tells me in a month she reads 3 books, minimum.
That is a great improvement.
Yeah, so
That
when
is a
she
lot
told
of
me that, I
information.
thought maybe there is also a spirit. An anti-reading
Maybe
spirit.
we need to look at it that way.
Maybe. Yeah, but basically I think it's where we are coming from. We didn't see our parents read. I don't remember seeing my father with a book or my mother with a book and saying, don't disturb me, or they go away somewhere under a tree and they're reading. I've never seen.
Yeah, if you
But
didn't
I
see
saw
that
my
happen, then
I saw my father with a lot of newspaper every evening. He
I
came
did
with a
too.
news.
I did
You
too.
did too. Yeah. So it's where we are coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was an article I was reading online this morning from, is it from Jambo, Kenya? And they said that it was a writer. So he went to Mombasa and he was just observing. So in that specific hotel, there is a library. And, you know, it's in Mombasa, so tourists, there are many tourists around. And he saw the number of Kenyans who are walking into the library as compared to the tourists. So they actually come and read and then leave some of their books. They donate the books to the library. So the library ends up having Italian books, you know, Portuguese books. So the observation
Donated.
he made. Yes. They come and read, then they donate theirs. But he rarely saw a Kenyan walking into the library. Yes.
I think we've not seen the value. I think it's also, you know, the Bible is very clear. My people perish for lack of knowledge. So I think there is also a lack of understanding of the value in a book. Because if you don't find value in anything, not just a book, in anything, if you don't see or find value in that thing, you'll have no need for it. But I think if we can understand the value in books, maybe not all, maybe valuable, I mean, there are all kinds of books. But if we realize the value in a book, what do I stand to gain from this book? How can this book change my life? Then it will be easy to pick up a book and pay whatever price, you know, it's priced, because you know the value. So there is also, I think, a lack of understanding of the value that is found in books. And I thank God for you that, you know, we are here to tell people there is value in books. There is a quote I saw of somebody who said that the reason probably you've not yet read a book is that you've not found a good book.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Maybe you've not yet found a good book. And let me say, there are good books out there that can change your life. Just reading a book, get into the mind and the life of the person, and it changes you. So we'll change that perspective. Yeah.
Okay, now speaking of that one book that can change your life,
Yeah.
what is that one book for you?
If you ask me the one book, I'll tell you
Yes.
it's the Bible. I don't think I can tell of any other, you know, unless you ask me beside the Bible.
Besides the Bible. I know the Bible is the
Oh my goodness.
best-selling book.
Okay.
Besides
because
the
the Bible honestly holds everything
Yeah.
for our lives, you know, from beginning to the end. But I think Norman Vincent has the best books of positive thinking. I've read several of his books. And Power of Positive Thinking. I think that is a classic. Just that helps you know that, you know, what you think about a thing, and if you can change that and think positively, you know, you can be faced with a situation that is not right. But he says, look for the good. Look for the good in it.
Yeah.
And something I learned from that book, when I meet with you, I may not like, and I'm not speaking you now,
Okay.
I may not like your dressing, I may not like the shoe you're wearing, but I might like your hair. Like I like your hair.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll focus on what I like, and I'll compliment you for what I like. I leave the shoes, I leave the dress, but so what am I? I'm being positive
You
to
can
look at.
choose.
I can choose. Yeah, I can choose to ask you now, what kind of a dress is that? Didn't you have better shoes? But your hair is good. So I'll focus on the good. So it's a great book, you know, of being positive in everything we do in life. So for me, that's I can read that
That
book,
ranks very highly.
and it's a classic. I think it sold millions. Power of Positive Thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Then the journey to writing a book.
Yeah.
You know, it starts from an idea.
Yes.
Then you put it down on a paper.
Yeah.
Then now you start going to deal with the publishers. I usually just hit a mess. So I want you to take us through that.
Okay. It's not a mess.
Okay.
It's not a mess. I've always loved books. Always.
Okay.
When I was writing my book, that's when I was able to go back to even my high school, primary school, and I realized I've loved books all the time. And I can prove to you how much I love books. You know, in our culture where I come from, when a girl gets married, when she's leaving her mother's house, she leaves the house with one box. That box has a suitcase, like a suitcase of her few things that she will go with to her new husband or new home. It's always one box. When I got married, I had 2 boxes.
Why?
I had one with my everything,
Okay.
and I had one suitcase, books. It's still there in my house. It had books, it had cassettes, all kinds of reading materials.
So reading is something that you have been doing for a long
For a
time.
long time. When I was giving away my stuff in the house I lived now, because I was getting married, I gave away many things. The TV, the fridge, the sofas, everything. I didn't give up even one book. I
How
packed them in
How
one
unusual.
suitcase. I know.
Yes.
I've now looked back and I realized, oh, I've loved books all the time. I couldn't give away. I couldn't part with my books. There are some I bought when I was in campus, and I put them in one suitcase. So I left my mother's house with 2 suitcases. One was full of books. So I've always loved books, and you'll find me with a book. Wherever I am, you'll find me with a book. In bookstores, when we travel with my husband, sometimes he has to stop me because I want to get into a bookstore, and I'll
And
leave
look
with
around,
a book.
yes.
I'll leave with a book. Bookshops here in town, I'll walk in, buy a book. So I've always loved books. I don't necessarily always read from chapter to chapter end. Sometimes I'll pick on a chapter that's speaking to me.
Okay.
And I think that's why some people think that when you pick a book, you need to read from chapter 1 to chapter 6 or whatever it is. Not really.
And when you see the thickness.
And then when you see the
you're like,
thickness, you're thinking, I
No.
know. But in every moment of your life, you're going through a certain thing in your life. We have different seasons. So maybe chapter 8 is the one that is speaking to you in the season you're in.
At that
Read
particular
chapter 8.
moment.
Put it aside. So I have many books. My husband also is a reader. That one now is another level. I'm not even anywhere near my husband. He has books from all over. He bought many books. So we have a huge library of books. If you come to our library, you'll get any kind of a book. So I've always loved that, and I've always loved writing. These are things I've just discovered in the recent years.
Yeah.
In high school, primary school, I was very good with composition writing. I always scored highest, and I the way the teachers would say, read the marks, and I was always being read for being like top.
Okay, the compositions that
Compositions,
were,
the ones which used to start like 2 sentences and then you're told complete. I enjoyed
It was
those.
an early Monday morning.
When then continue. I loved those, and I'll write, and my imagination will run, and and I think also because we traveled a lot. I told you my family traveled.
Also, that experience
The
contributed.
exposure, I think also the exposure. So I had a lot to speak about. So I was able to put it in writing. You not believe it that when even I go for functions, and especially funerals, I always have a paper and a pen. When they're giving the eulogy of the person, Joyce is there.
Writing what
I'm
exactly?
picking points. I'm picking what can I learn from this. And sometimes I'll try to constrain myself. I'm like, we are in a funeral service.
Wow.
But I always find I'm reaching for my pen and paper, and I will write. So that, I think, has been in me. And so before I got married, I decided to write a book. And I wanted to write a book about waiting on the Lord, because I was hitting 40, not married.
Well, and then in these times,
In
I can only
these times.
imagine the number of voices.
Yes, at that time.
Yes.
So I really wanted to write a book about waiting. Then now the marriage proposal came. So I got married, and I thought, oh, a happy ending to this waiting, now write the book. So I got married, and I still wanted to write the book, but somehow I have not released that book, but it's coming. It's, I think, in chapter 3 or 4.
Okay.
So I'll still write it. And then now what happened is last year, 2020, during the pandemic that hit us, we did a lot of online preaching.
Yes.
And my husband had a program every morning he preached. And on a few occasions here and there, he would allow me, maybe he was not available, he would ask me to take the meeting. So I did that a lot. And one time when I was preaching a series of, I think, a week, it was a message about gifts that God has put in us. And after I finished that series, I sat down and I thought, that's a book. I said, that's a book. And I said, I'll write the book. And I started the journey.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and we'll talk about the book
Yes.
a little later. But now the writing. So it means that the more you, if you want to write, then reading also goes without saying.
I believe
Yeah. For you to become a better writer.
I like it.
For you
I
to
think
become
you've put it better.
Yes.
Anyone can write, but I think to be that better writer, it'll be good if you're reading also, because even when you write a book, it's not just your own thoughts you're putting.
Yeah.
Like the book I've written has my thoughts, but it also has, we borrow. We are not, an island. We are not men
True.
on, a man on an island alone. So it comes also from borrowing other people's ideas. So I found when I was writing my book, I had to do that a lot. So yes, you need to be a good reader. But if you ask me, everyone can write a book. Everyone. Because everyone has a story.
Everyone has a story to tell.
Yes.
Yes.
You too can write.
We have gone through different
You've gone through
experiences.
how did you get here?
Yeah.
Here. How did you get here? It's a story. How's been your experience doing what you do? It's a story. So everyone can write. Now on top of that also, but now you need also a good person to lead you. The publisher editor thing you're saying,
Yeah.
that is also very key.
Okay.
If you can get a good person, a good publisher to help you with that.
So, and on that note, we are taking a short break here on Your Story on Look Up TV, but we'll be back with Pastor Joyce just to talk more about the book that is launching. Welcome back to Your Story on Look Up TV. Remember, you can engage with us on our SMS platform. The number is 20374. 20374. And today we are talking about books. And with me here is Shine, Unlock Your Gift and Shine. This is a book by Reverend Joyce Kariuki. And now this is what we want to talk about.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
we have talked about how you got into writing. Then now this was born.
Yes.
Yes, so let's talk about this book.
Yes.
The process of writing it.
The process.
Yes.
Yeah. The process began last year. I'd mentioned that earlier during one sermon that I was preaching about gifts, and I was telling people you carry a gift. Every person carries a gift, and I was challenging them to bring it out, discover it and bring it out. And then I felt impressed in my heart to do the book. So I started the process of writing the book last year, and what made it easy, at least for me in that bit of writing, is I'd already prepared for the sermon.
Okay.
So I had at least what you'd call a skeleton of the sermon I had been preaching. So I was able to take that, add a bit of it, like we said earlier, read what other people have written or spoken or preached about gifts. Put that together. Then the next process, and actually even before that, I had met a publisher, and he happens to be a member of our church who has helped a number of people, quite a number of people, write their books. And I've always admired, he himself is also an author. I've admired his works, I have bought his books, and he kept telling me, you can write a book, Pastor Joyce, you can write a book. And somebody
So
say,
there was
yeah. So now when I felt impressed, I looked for him and I told him, I'm ready to write the book. And he said, let's go. So we sat down with him.
Okay.
And he told me, okay, so what do you want? I told him the kind of a book he wants, and he gave me the layout of what we need to do. And we did all that, just helping me first understand. The first thing he made me understand, and this I can share, so that I said everybody can write a book.
Please do.
He told me, writing is not a gift.
Okay.
Writing is not a gift. There's a lot of discipline and hard work. So even him who has authored, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 books, it's not a gift. He still has to wake up every morning, set time aside, write, and discipline himself to do that. So he told me, if you can discipline yourself, how many pages of a book do you want? Okay, 150. That means how many pages a day? And then every day write, or however you decide. If you can do that, you write a book. So he made me, writing is not a gift.
Yeah, like the way they say talent, if it's not worked on, then it's pointless.
Maybe I was not called for that.
Yeah.
He made me know, no, that's not the case. There's sort of a small layout. If you followed it and you got the good publisher, you write. So anyway, so I connected with him and I told him, okay, this year, which is 2020, I'm releasing a book. So I was able now to put all the materials together, back and forth, send him a chapter, he writes back and all that. And I was actually going to launch the book on the 30th of last year, 2020. I lost my mom in 2019. December of 2019, and as a way of honoring her, I had purposed that the day she transitioned was the day I was going to launch my book. Okay. And in my heart, I still launched my book on that day, which was the 30th of December 2020. So, but anyway, because of a lot of editing work, now you also need a good editor.
Yeah.
So when my book landed in an editor's hands, there was a lot of editing to be done. She told me, Pastor Joyce, you are not going to release a book with errors. That's the worst thing when you pick again a book and you're picking errors. She told me no.
Yeah, and you've bought the book.
And you've bought the books.
Makes sense.
So there was again a lot of back and forth with the editor until finally she told me it's good. And by the time she's saying it's good, it's 2021. So anyway, so I decided that's okay. In my heart, I launched my book on the 30th of it was complete. And so now this year, I was able to launch it.
Okay.
So it's a process. I would say yes, it's a process, because you can see that was almost 9 months or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 8 months. But it's not a difficult. I don't want to make people think that it's a difficult. Get a good editor, get a good publisher, you're good to go. Okay. And have a message that you're passionate about. Because I'm very passionate about gifts. If you have an area you're passionate, you will write.
Okay. So now that you're passionate about gifts, and that's what the book is about.
Yes.
So just tell us more of what people can expect in the book.
Okay. So in the book, I've spoken about gifts that God gives to men. And they are natural gifts, you know, like what was cooking, what are these others? Writing, no, running. You said writing is not running, the marathoners, dancing, you know, whatever, all those, they are natural gifts. But we also have the spiritual gifts, the supernatural gifts. Now, natural gifts, everybody has. You are born of a woman, you carry a natural gift. You are good in something. Now, the spiritual gifts, those are given at salvation. When the Holy, and the Bible is very clear, when you got born again, when the Holy Spirit came upon you, he came with gifts, supernatural, prophesying, preaching, evangelism, you know, discerning of spirits, knowledge, word of knowledge, you know, prophesying. All those are supernatural, given to the children of God. So a child of God, a believer like I am, has both the natural gifts and the supernatural gifts. So that tells you everybody has a gift. Maybe some only have the natural, but there are people with natural and the spiritual. So all of us have gifts. And I discovered the problem there is with most people is they have not yet discovered.
You don't know, you're like, Miss Kwangina talent.
They think they don't have, when you see people singing, you know, and you're looking at yourself and what am I good at?
What can I do?
What can I do? Yeah. And that is where the problem is. People who have not discovered their gifts, yet they are gifted. So in this book, I've explained or talked to people that they are a gift. Because by the way, just you are a gift. You came to this world as a gift. Of the people I've acknowledged in the book is my mom, my late mom. Just the fact that she brought me into this world as a gift to the world, I was able to acknowledge her. You know, so everyone is a gift. So, and I've also tried to help people understand then, how do I discover? You know, you can tell people things and they are left with the question of, so how? How? So there is an how, and I think that has taken a big portion of the book, how you can discover your gift. And there are many ways. I'll just maybe say one. One thing that can help you discover a gift is when opportunities come to do things, and let me talk generally, to do things, don't say, that one, no. That one, no, I'm not good at that. Oh, I don't know. Don't give excuses. Do it. In the doing, of many things, you will discover an area you're good at. But you'll not discover when you're home sitting watching the TV.
So you have to be out there and grab
opportunities. You hear people are doing this, go. You, oh, we have cooking classes, go. I don't know, we do. Go, do. Some you will drop, definitely. You drop them, along the way, but in all that you will discover what you're good and passionate also about. So you discover how to your gifts, and a chapter that the few that have had an opportunity to read are just so excited about. I am also excited about it, and those who buy the book will be excited about it, is also how they can monetize, make money
from the gift.
From your gift. Yeah. Your gift should feed you. Your gift should feed your family. Your gift should pay your house rent. Your gift should make you a financer in the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
But people are struggling, and they're looking for jobs. I guess so many people, Pastor Joyce, kuna opening? Is there an opening? Is there an opening? If you hear a job, here are my papers. And I'm thinking, you don't need a job. You are gifted. You're gifted. And I try to show them what I will ask them, what are you good at? Is it cooking? Start something, mandazi, something.
And I also think the gift is an important topic, because for our culture, like the one that we've grown up in here in Kenya, where people don't discover their gifts until they're way older.
Yes.
You know, unlike in other countries, say abroad, where you could start playing the keyboard at age 3. You see, so it is.
That's true.
For this culture, where people are not used to, mastering, where their strengths are. So this comes in handy.
Yes. And it's good. It's a good thing you've pointed out, because the new curriculum now is doing that. Yeah. Kids now are being helped to discover what they are good at. When they are still in
strengths.
Yes. But in our days, it was academics. I remember when I was in primary school, I got involved in drama. So we used to act, and we did very well. So this one time we were going to Marsabit High School, or whatever it's called, for the nationals. And my mom came, and I told her I'm traveling to Marsabit. For what? And I told her for drama, I'm an actor, nini. She looks at me and says, no, you're not acting. You are here to read.
Nothing
You
else.
are not going to Marsabit. So I had to tell her, Mom, I am a main character. There used to be main characters.
They
are not going without
you.
Without me. They are not going without me. She said, main character what? You are not going. So the teacher who used to coordinate whatever the drama was had to speak to my mom. And I went on one condition. She allowed me to go on one condition. I'll not drop one grade lower. So I went, and I had to work, not to drop my position. So, and after that was the end of me and drama. Maybe I can act, but it was killed in primary school. But now it's different with the school system right now, that now the children are being helped to discover. And maybe also a word to the parents also, that even after school, expose your children to other extra curriculum,
And it is possible to balance the two. Your academics can be right, and
you're also good in maybe swimming.
Extracurricular activities.
Yeah, we have a niece whose kids are very good in swimming. They go into we always tell them one day you'll go to the Olympics, because they've won all the prizes that can be won in the nation in swimming. But yes, they're also doing very well in school. So it's a matter of balance, and also discover what your child is. Be responsible, a responsible parent, because your child. Your child. So in an area, if you find they are good in a certain area, encourage them, introduce them, take them to a class or whatever it is, so they develop that. And I've also talked about developing, how you can also develop your
gift. That is actually the chapter that I have opened. Now developing your gift. Now once you realize it, then probably you've monetized it or something. But then it doesn't end there.
It doesn't end there. Learning is a lifetime thing that we need to engage in. So, and one of the ways of developing is going to school. But it's simple. My book is not complicated. It's an easy book for anyone. Go back to school. You may discover you're good in singing, for example. There are classes which can help you improve on your vocals and all that. I'm not good in music. You discover you're good in cooking. There are classes. you know, maybe you've only been good with chapatis, and you know, you can develop that and know other recipes. So that is one way. And of course, another maybe is also finding mentors, people who are good in the area that you're good, and just attach yourself to them and learn from them. So there is always room. Nobody can say they've arrived. There is always room to develop that gift, and God expects you really to develop that gift. You know, I say, when this life is over, because it's your life, I mean, when it's over, a day is coming when we shall have to give an account of our lives. Yeah, and you'll have to give God an account of, I put this in you, what did you do with it to the world? That everyone will give an account. So I say, use your gift and use it well, so that on that day you'll be able to give a good account that this is how I used my talent. You know the story of the talents in the Bible? Yeah, he gave them talents. 5, and then he comes back and tells them, so what? And this one comes and says, oh, I hid it. And what was he called? You foolish, slothful. I say, I don't want those words. I don't want to be called a slothful, lazy servant. So use your gift and use it well. Yeah.
Okay, and also now, through now the book, you've talked about discovering the talent, or the gift, or the talent, then working on it, probably monetizing it, because it should feed you.
It should.
Yeah, and then developing it. And then there's that bit of mentorship.
Yeah.
And that is what I want us to address just a bit, because there is need for mentorship.
There is.
Like, no one has a monopoly.
No.
Yes, of ideas, of, you know, innovation. Like, we can always learn from people.
Oh, yes.
And that is something that is key right now, especially for our young people. So that is an important aspect, because the mentorship is required.
Yes.
So, and now the book is launching. Where can we find it?
The book is available. Right now, I'm working on getting bookstores to carry it. I've spoken to Textbook Center, and I intend to speak to others, because there is also a process for them to accept your book. So I'm waiting for some feedback, and so once I get approval, then it will be available in the major bookstores. But for now, our church office, it's available in our church office, the Deliverance Church House of Bread. We are at the KPCU building. KPCU building is along Haile Selassie Avenue, just before the wholesale market, Marigiti Market, and we have our big banner there, House of Bread. So if they go up their second floor, they'll get the book. And also, if they contact me through my Facebook page, Reverend Joyce Karaoke, I have a website, Joyce Karaoke, www.joycekaraoke.com, which is the other means. So for now on Facebook, my number, call me, you know, or then go to my website or come to our church office. Then you'll be able to get the book. And we're also doing delivery. So we can deliver anywhere worldwide. I know this is watched worldwide, so we can deliver worldwide. And very soon also, I'm working to get it on Amazon for our diaspora readers. So it will also be on Amazon, but it's also a process to get it there. Yes.
Okay. And that is very good, especially considering now the diaspora people, because
they
want to consume.
They want it,
from
and
their
they're
country.
like, is it on Amazon? They're actually the ones who pushed me to think, okay, Amazon, because they're like, is it on Amazon? Is it on? I said, okay, it will be on Amazon, but maybe a few months.
So, and from your writing, you know, you've said it took quite some time to put everything together and finally come up with these products. So what are the highlights, the lessons that you've learned along the way in writing and finally just publishing the book altogether?
One, that writing is not a skill or a talent. That for me opened up my everything to know, okay, so anyone can write. So anyone can write a book. I also learned that it's good to be passionate about what you're writing, because there are books I have been writing in my mind. In my mind, I think there are like 10 books, but they're all in my mind. But this is an area I'm very passionate, and I think when I started writing, because I'm passionate, ideas flow. you don't have what they call that blank page, you know, where you wake up, you're thinking, what do I write about? And you can't find anything.
Yeah.
But when you're passionate about something, then you are able to flow. Third thing I also learned, discipline.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Mhm.
Because you will write one time, you have momentum and the excitement. You write, and then you get to a point where you're like, this book.
You just don't
So
wanna
you
do
have to
it.
push. There's also a part, even if you're passionate, there's a point where you have to push yourself to write the book. So there's a lot of discipline. You will not write without discipline. And that's how I have a book from 2000 that's still
in the process.
that's still
somewhere in the
but it's
pipeline.
coming out. It's coming out. Yeah, so a lot of discipline. What else? Yeah, anyone can write.
And
anyone can
maybe
write.
now around you, did you get perhaps a conducive environment just to write the book? Or maybe the support from people who are around you, say family?
An environment, no. Anytime I just sat where I normally sit, I didn't move seats.
Okay.
So where I sit every evening, I just used to get my laptop, and if something comes up. But what I did, maybe which also may be helpful, is just always having a notebook and a pen. Because what happens is you could just be out there and an idea pops.
Yeah.
It's
Light
like
bulb.
singers. The light bulb goes.
Yeah.
It's like singers. I hear them say in the night a song can come and they have to wake up
You write
and
down a line.
write it
Yes.
or record, because they wake up, it's gone. So the same thing, an idea may come and you may just jot it down, then later you can build on it. So I didn't do anything like, extra, but of course I had a lot of support also from my husband, who has written many books.
Okay.
So, he kept telling me, you can. He's very encouraging. My husband is very encouraging, very supportive. But if there's someone supportive, it's my husband. Anything I tell him I want to do, go for it, baby. That's what he says. Go for it. So he was, he was very supportive, launching everything. He was supportive, and of course the people, because I minister to people on social media a lot, on my page. So there are many who just would throw words, you need to write a book. And I kept hearing that.
Yeah.
So that also pushed me. But besides that, there was really nothing extraordinary. I just sat and wrote. Yeah.
And worked hard at it.
There's one,
That beat is important.
That one, let's not overlook it.
Yes.
There's some work involved.
Okay. And now, as we conclude, moving forward, now that we know there are book clubs that are coming up to try and help people, read books.
Yes.
Try to create a new culture where we read books, we improve our communication skills, we improve our social skills, as well as being informed. But now, just moving forward, how else do you think we could be more readers?
I think it's having people like Reverend Joyce come on such shows.
Now this platform.
On such a platform, and tell them, it's good to read. I think it's just encouraging people, in any forums that we have to do the reading. Yeah, the book clubs are there. Like we said, so, they say, it is said that, how do they put it? That you're very good with quotes, that you can't teach an old dog
new tricks.
You can't teach, yes. So we may have to maybe put a bit more focus on these young ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ones that, they're still
you
growing.
can form them.
Yes.
Because now when a grown-up at 52 and you're trying to get them to read, it's going to be an uphill task. I remember one time just saying something to some elderly lady in our church. And she's the one who reminded me, Pastor Joyce, old dogs, it's very hard. And I looked at her and I asked her, so you're calling yourself an old dog? But I knew what she meant, yes. That, for us, older generation, leave us out, work with these young ones. So maybe more focus would be on these young ones in schools, introducing not just you call them the academic books, and also parents and people around them. I have a niece. Just allow me to speak about my niece. My niece is called Claire McKenna. This girl, it's amazing, very gifted. She loves books. When her mom, who is my sister, travels, she must come with a book for her. One time, she was almost left by a plane in a bookshop buying a book for Claire. She read books about Mandela, Obama. I'm not saying child books. She can take a book, it's 203 pages. She starts reading. She'll stop when she stops. She reaches the end of the book.
Wow.
She's only 12.
That is quite impressive.
Yeah. So they can read. They can read. So we encourage them to read.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, book. I've been thinking about having also a book club, but what I want to do with this book is come up with a master class that besides the book, now just get into a class, bring in speakers that can just also help people. This unlocking, we can break it down also in a classroom kind of setting, how they can do that. So that is coming up in the course of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for gracing our shows.
Thank you.
Yes, and you will send our regards to Bishop Mark.
I will.
Yes.
I will.
And that is it from Your Story on Look Up TV. We have been talking about books, the reading culture, and how best we can move forward as we try to embrace reading, because it is a source of information and knowledge, as well as growing our communication and social skills. I am Nancy Nalima. Thank you so much for watching.